Hello, this is Monica, the Creative Beast, and this is a little Q&A from the creative online gathering known as the COG. So our previous gathering, somebody had a question that I said I would save for this session, and that was how many creative projects I have. And I have not yet really gone around my studio to count them all because there's sewing, there's knitting, there's jewelry, there's books. But when I was thinking of some projects for our gathering today that I would work on to complete for folks to vote on, I was going through some of my jewelry stuff, and there was kind of also a question of, well, is that really a project? Because I hadn't really started it. But with my jewelry, I will have a bunch of elements that are bagged together. And as a result, I consider that a project that has yet to be completed. So when everything is put together, that's where I start it. And therefore it's unfinished because I need to put all the stuff together, as in really assembling it. So I counted at least 5 bags of projects for jewelry. I have probably, well, I know I've got about 3 file folder books that could be worked on. Those are file folder books. And then there are the raw spine books that I've made, and there's probably 3 more of those left. And then there's a bookbinding technique I learned last year, and I've got at least 3 covers. So sorry, 3, that's 3, not that. 3 of that particular bookbinding. So I think that's, what are we up to, about 9 books that are in various stages of completing or progress. So let's see, and sewing, let's see, okay, well, with knitting projects, there's probably, about 2. There's a scarf I started, a shawl I started, there's a scarf I started, and I think there's a handkerchief I started, so excuse me, that's 3 knitting projects. And okay, so yes, I've counted categories. So we've got some sewing, some knitting, some bookbinding, and jewelry, and that's at least 4 categories of projects that are not finished. Yeah. So I have a lot of unfinished projects lying around my studio, and I'm sure I'm not alone. I know other knitters who have things they've started and haven't finished. I know other bookmakers who have some unfinished book projects. There are people who started playing with jewelry and then they stopped, and now they might want to return to it. And then there's also different kinds of beading, and there's embroidery, and yeah. Suffice to say, I have a lot of unfinished projects in my studio. So that question, I believe, came from Jeri of Recycled Parts from Art. So thank you, Jeri, for that question. And thank you guys for listening to this Q&A of the Creative Beast at the COG, the Creative Online Gathering. Thanks.